Yes. Lit those Canadians up. Roasted them.
Oh my God.
Take that, Canada.
1 minute later.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna hit you with three more pay-per-view headliners. In January, we're doing Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. In February, we're doing...
Oh,
Open big chail. Here it comes. The plane. There it is.
right, well, I recently talked about Canada, UFC 297, and made some jokes about how the UFC hates you, Canada. I was wrong. It's clear the UFC loves Canada and loves its fans all throughout the North American region. But I also think my comments, I think they stand. I think the UFC had no better option than Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. We got here by default. I mean, Khamzat Chimaev's hand is still injured. Jared Cannonier just went through a huge injury, and I don't know if we'll ever actually see him back. I mean, the guy is like 40 or 42, something like that. He's old, and the previous star of the division, Israel Adesanya, he's leaving for the time being. And I don't think that Robert Whittaker deserves a title shot. It has purely landed on Dricus du Plessis by default. So while I might backtrack on my statements that the UFC hates Canada, I don't think that we got here by the UFC trying to please all the fans, or there's some sort of justice for Africa with Dricus du Plessis. I think the UFC still holds a pretty big grudge against Sean Strickland. Either way, we got here the same way that Islam Makhachev got to the #1 pound for pound spot by default. Healthy DDP, healthy Sean Strickland, let's make the card. UFC 297 Canada is now saved. And with Alexander Rakic being put back on that card against Jan Blachowicz, I think that really shores that card up, strengthens it. I think that's a really nice return to the UFC in January, which is surprising, right? Like, the UFC generally does not do good in January. Obviously, fighters, they want to take Christmas off, eat a little bit, spend time with their family. So for the UFC to pull this off, amazing work. Amazing work. Like, shit talking when you deserve it, bit of fun, but also props when you deserve it as well. And the UFC deserves props for the January card just as hard as I went in on them for what it looked like it was going to be. How do I think it's going to go? I think Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis press conference is going to be pretty respectful between the two of them, right? Sean Strickland is the kind of man that respects other men that sort of portray that classic masculinity image, even though du Plessis does kiss his coach on the mouth. But, you know, I don't know if it's going to be all-out war between them verbally. I think Sean Strickland is more going to focus on the UFC and the Bud Light deal, and UFC and Canada's government. I find that to be very similar to the situation Sean Strickland found himself in when he was down here in Australia, right? He turned out to be a massive fan favorite. It's very weird, isn't it? MMA fans don't seem to be the same people that are fans of big government controlling what they do. Very different people. As far as the fight itself, I hate to bet against Sean Strickland. He is so fun. But I do think Dricus du Plessis is going to be the one walking away with the championship. Sean Strickland is a man that you need to march down. He marches you down, and you have to face that fire with fire. And, you know, the thing with Israel Adesanya, he's a point striker. He likes to dance around the outside. Jared Cannonier was happy to march him down, and look, Jared Cannonier pushed it all the way to a win in a decision that I thought Strickland got, but still, just by standing there with Sean Strickland and banging it out, Cannonier was able to get the win over him. And I don't think Dricus du Plessis is going to be scared of coming forward. He's happy to come forward, get hit on the chin. He keeps swinging. I think Sean Strickland's going to handle it for the first 2 rounds, but then we might just start to see him get overwhelmed as that 25 minutes go on. Not because of Sean Strickland's gas tank. Sean Strickland has a great gas tank. I think it's just going to be a pressure for pressure, and I feel like Dricus du Plessis is just the bigger dude. And I can see Dricus just punching Sean Strickland, Philly shelling Dricus, dropping a double leg, grappling against the cage, dragging him onto the ground, Strickland struggling to get back up. At the end of the day, I think Dricus du Plessis is going to be winning by pressure and rear naked choke on the ground, somewhere in the 3rd, 4th round towards the later stages of the fight, which is obviously going to be a massive win for Israel Adesanya, who can walk right back into a title shot at the end of 2024 or in the middle of 2024, maybe UFC 300. I'm not saying the UFC is scripted, but I do think that the UFC sees its stars and comes up with great storylines that it would like to try and push. And Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, the rivalry of Africa, is a storyline that they want to pay out and capitalize on. I wonder, is Israel Adesanya going to be in the crowd manifesting another win for DDP, considering Dricus's career entirely happens in Israel's head? And I can't wait to see the look on Dana's face if Strickland wins. He is just going to be watching that Israel Adesanya Dricus money go down the drain, and his sponsors screaming at him over the phone on Monday. Oh my God, guys, let me know, what do you think? If Strickland wins this fight, does Chimaev go straight into the next title shot after his hand heals? Like, does he need another win in the division? I feel like he does, but is he a big enough star to just get that leverage and push him all the way up to the title shot? You let me know. And if DDP wins, does Israel Adesanya deserve another title shot? I too think he needs a win in that division. I don't think he can come off a loss and just march right back into a title shot purely because he chose to sit out and let the angry fans die down a little bit. Let me know down in the comments. If you guys have been enjoying these videos, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. I appreciate every single one. They massively help the videos. And I'll see you all in the next one.